All right, today I want to talk to you about the IEP process involving the steps that go along with determining if your child is eligible for an IEP plan or a 504 plan within the school district. So the first thing that happens is that the educational teacher within the classroom, a special education teacher, administrator, or even the parents can refer the student to special education. This may be because they're not grasping something within the lesson plans. They notice that there's other things that are causing them to not get the proper education that they require. So they will refer them to special education. Once they do that, there's evaluations that happen. And this part takes the longest. In my opinion and in my experience with my own children, this process takes anywhere between 4 and 6 weeks. So once the referral happens, the parents will receive a packet that comes home with the children, or it may even come in the mail depending on the district. It has a list of questions. This is behaviors at home, things that you see at home that may warrant special education services needed. It would be behaviors, physical disabilities that they may have, attention disabilities, what type of disabilities they may have, all that. Things that the parents see at the house. While that's going on, a special education teacher and a school pathologist will evaluate the children themselves. There will be somebody who sits in with in the classroom and actually watch the student and make sure that, they're seeing the same things as well, that they are need special education services. There's also a written test that's given to the students, and this determines, based on scores, if they qualify for special education. So once the evaluations take place, once the packet is returned back to school, the school pathologist and the teacher will come together. They'll gather scores and determine eligibility from there. So once that's done, a meeting is scheduled, and this is with a general teacher. If they have multiple, it's usually the one that they're having the most struggle with. It could be math, could be reading. Those are the two main subjects that school districts focus on, since that is the lowest scores within the state. So one of those teachers will meet. It'll be that teacher, the special education teacher, the school pathologist, administrator, and the parents will all meet. Students can attend, but it's not required unless they're over the age of 15. And this is to let the parents know of their eligibility. Once they're determined that they are eligible for special education services, what happens is the special education teacher who has been monitoring the student for the last month, 4 to 6 weeks, will determine what the issue is and why the student needs special education. In the case with my children, it was that they have issues with processing new information, so that's what their IEP is on. It could be something completely different with every student. It doesn't have to be a processing issue, doesn't have to be with a learning issue. It could be, physical conditions that may warrant an IEP. So once that is determined that that's what's needed for their IEP, the special education teacher will develop a plan, goals that will be set. Most likely there's SMART goals, stuff that's obtainable within a certain amount of time. Usually quarterly they do a recheck to make sure, or they do a quarterly processing check on the student to make sure that their goals are being met in the time frame they need. Then once the IEP plan is put in place, the services will begin. They'll either meet with the special education teacher so many hours a week. or they may even have an aide that sits with them, depending on if they need that service. They monitor the students' progress throughout the year, and at the end of a full year of receiving the services, there is either a reevaluation that may need to be done to determine if special education services are required, or if an IEP needs to be modified based on what the student has completed or has not completed. The IEP may need to continue because they have not received or they have not met the goals that was first put into place. So they're going to continue working towards the goals to get them where they need to be. If they do meet those goals within the first year, that's when a reevaluation is done to determine if special education services are still needed and what type of special education services would be needed.